So in the beginning, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to the Kenan Foundation and also to the colleagues of Kyoto University. Thanks to them, we could found a new institute for Sufi studies. There is Kenan Rifai Center for Sufi Studies at Kyoto University. Of course, it's a pity it was founded in at the Kyoto University, not at Sophia University in Tokyo. But anyway, it was a very good occasion for us to develop our joint research on Sufism and saint veneration much more for the fruitful future. As I told in my keynote speech yesterday, I myself started my research on saint veneration among the Muslims some 30 years ago, and then 20 years ago we started joint research on Sufism and saint veneration with Professor Tonaga Yasushi. He was my classmate at the University of Tokyo. And then we continued getting funds from, for example, the Minister of Education in Japan. But this time, we could make a good new start. And last year, also, I'm very thankful to be invited to the opening conference of the training project of the two bridges, bridges of the two Easts. I was much impressed with that conference in Istanbul and found we could find many friends and also colleagues and also supporters for Sufi studies in Japan, in Turkey. And roughly a half year past, we could have the first international symposium of the Kenan Rifai Center for Sufi Studies at Kyoto University yesterday and today. I think it could become a very good occasion to show the guests coming from Turkey and also from the United States and other countries, the achievement, our previous achievement of our studies on Sufism and saint veneration, and at the same time, I hope it could be a good stimulating, it could have a good stimulating influence onto those scholars and also people from foreign countries to know that in Japan we are paying so much effort to develop our studies on Sufism and saint veneration, and we can make a good cooperation or much more larger cooperation in academia and also in other areas of social influences to our study and colleagues in Turkey and other countries. Also, I believe we could show our theoretical points which we consider nobody had considered before among, of course, Japanese scholars, nor among the scholars in Europe and the Middle East. At the same time, I hope those who attended this conference saw so many younger scholars, maybe 10 years or 20 years younger than I, also making so much efforts to develop their own studies and to contribute to the studies of Sufism and saint veneration and other related phenomena. And also, this time, it's our great pleasure to have some esteemed or established scholars, including Professor Ernst, Professor Chitek, and Professor Lawrence, and other scholars to give us a speech it was very impressive. But of course, we know very well about their achievements. So what I hope for the next conference, if we have in a few years here at Kyoto or at any other sister organizations of the United States or China or Istanbul, I hope also we could gather younger scholars of different countries and make them to know the endeavors of younger scholars of different countries. I believe it will be very stimulating for them, and also I hope they can make cooperation in their futures. But anyway, I believe this conference is very successful, and of course, I believe those who came from abroad knew what's going on right now about the studies on Sufism and saint veneration in Japan, and I hope if they could find something different or some kinds of different trends of studies in Japan, it will bring out a very fruitful future for cooperation of studies. From this April on, I became a senior researcher of the Kenan Rifai Center here at Kyoto University, Kenan Rifai Center for Sufi Studies here at Kyoto University. I'm so much honored to be accepted as a researcher. And of course, even before that, I was in cross touch with the activities of this center. And I was surprised this center made a great achievement in just 1 year. For example, they made one of the largest achievements was their book in English about which is a catalog of the articles and the books written by Japanese on Sufism and saint veneration or on tariqas. We didn't have such kind of book even in Japanese. So for me, it's very useful to know our predecessors and our also contemporary Koreans doing various kinds of approaches to the study of this field. At the same time, maybe all the attendants to this conference saw yesterday and today that the Kenan Rifai Center for Sufi Studies at Kyoto University is encouraging many younger students, including a graduate student of Kyoto University and the University of Tokyo, and also postgraduate students of other of those universities and other institutions. As I told you before, for example, are some 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Of course, the studies on Sufism was a favorite subject of the Japanese scholars, but most of the scholars in that time was focused on Sufism as Islamic thought. But now you can see we have, of course, scholars on Islamic thoughts, but also sociologists, anthropologists, historians, those who attended from that different disciplines can contribute and make a new type of development in our studies. And also, how I should say is that maybe some of you know that every 4 years, we are now having the large international conference which is called VOCMES, or World Congress on Middle Eastern Studies. And the last time it was held in Ankara. Before that, we held it in Amman, Mainz, and Barcelona. And after 2 years, next year, we are going to hold the conference in Seville, I believe, maybe. But every time I attended those conferences of the VOCMES, I felt the number of the sessions on Sufism are not so many. I believe much more scholars should tackle the subject of Sufism all over the world. So, for example, this time in this conference, many scholars from Japan, Turkey, and also the United States could meet one another. So for the next stage, I think we should make a practical plan to cooperate to one another, and for example, to hold much more sessions in the future VOCMESs. And so for that purpose of planning future cooperation and hold a worldwide network of scholars who are doing researches on Sufism and publishing their achievements, this conference in Kyoto in 2017 was a very fruitful occasion, I believe.